I fell in love with the most beautiful girl in school. And she kissed me back. The bell rang like a gunshot in my chest that first day of senior year, shattering the humid haze of summer into the sharp-edged reality of Evergreen High. I was Alex Harper, 17 and already invisible, slouched at the back of homeroom with my notebook clutched like a shield, sketching feverish lines that bled into half-formed faces. Seattle's relentless drizzle tapped against the window panes, a steady rhythm that matched the thud of my heart when she walked in. Riley Voss. God, even her name tasted like sunlight on my tongue. She was the kind of beautiful that hit you square in the gut, the most stunning girl in school, with that effortless grace that made the world tilt. Blonde hair cascading in loose waves down her back, catching the fluorescent lights like spun gold, and those blue eyes, deep as Puget Sound, pulling you under without a fight. Track star, homecoming queen contender, the girl who laughed like wind chimes in a storm. She slid into the seat 2 rows up, her vanilla-scented ponytail swinging, and I swear the room inhaled, holding its breath. I couldn't look away. My pencil snapped in my grip, the crack echoing louder than it should. By lunch, the rumor mill was already churning. Riley had broken up with Jake over the summer, some blowout at the lake house party where he'd gotten too handsy, too possessive. Everyone whispered it like gospel, their voices a low buzz under the clatter of trays in the cafeteria. I sat alone at my corner table, picking at a soggy turkey sandwich, the salty tang of cafeteria grease mixing with the faint rot of rain-soaked leaves drifting in from the quad. That's when she appeared, tray in hand, scanning the room like she owned it. Our eyes locked. Time stuttered. She smiled, small, tentative, like she was testing the waters, and veered my way. Mind if I join? Her voice was honey over gravel, warm from track practice, carrying the faint echo of exertion. Up close, her skin glowed with that post-run flush, freckles dusting her nose like stars. I swallowed hard, my throat dry as sawdust. Yeah, sure. I mean, no, don't mind. Words tumbled out, clumsy and hot, my cheeks burning under her gaze. She dropped into the seat across from me, peeling open a yogurt with a pop that made my pulse jump. I'm Riley. You're Alex, right? From English last year? You wrote that poem about the ferry ride, Ghosts in the Wake. It stuck with me. My brain short-circuited. She'd remembered? Me? The girl who faded into lockers like wallpaper? Yeah, that's me. I managed a nod, forcing my fingers to still on my sandwich wrapper, crinkling it nervously. The air between us hummed, charged with the sizzle of fries from the line and the distant shout of some jock in the hall. Her knee brushed mine under the table. Accidental electric, and I jerked back like I'd touched fire. We talked. Easy at first about the rain that never quit, the way it turned the track into a slip and slide. She laughed at my joke about Mr. Hargrove's comb-over defying gravity, a sound that bubbled up rich and real, wrapping around my ribs. But underneath something twisted. I watched her lips curve, the way her throat moved when she swallowed, and a ache bloomed low in my belly, sharp and forbidden. I'd known I was different since middle school, stealing glances at girls in the locker room, my heart racing to the forbidden flip of a magazine page. But Riley? She was straight as the Space Needle, dated guys like they were accessories. This crush was a grenade, pin pulled, and I was already counting down. That afternoon, in the dim glow of the library after school, I hid behind a stack of dog-eared paperbacks, the musty scent of old pages a comfort against the storm raging inside. Rain lashed the windows in sheets, thunder rumbling like a distant train. I tried to read Hemingway, short and brutal, but the words blurred. All I saw was her. Riley leaning over the track hurdles in my mind, muscles flexing under her skin, sweat tracing paths I wanted to follow with my fingertips. Footsteps echoed on the linoleum, soft and sure. I peeked through the shelves. There she was, backpack slung over one shoulder, scanning the aisles like a hunter. Our eyes met again and she grinned, that devastating flash of teeth. Hiding out? Mind company. I shook my head, mute, as she pulled up a chair, her thigh pressing warm against mine in the narrow space. Close. Too close. The heat of her seeped through my jeans, and I caught her scent. vanilla shampoo laced with the earthy tang of wet grass from practice. We shared silence first, broken only by the page turns and the patter of rain. Then she sighed, a soft exhale that ghosted my ear, leaning in to whisper, "This place feels like a tomb sometimes. You ever feel like you're just waiting for something to wake you up?" My breath hitched. Her words hung there, heavy with unspoken weight. I wanted to say yes, that I was waiting for her, for this pull that made my skin hum. Instead I murmured, "Every day." Our fingers brushed on the table, hers tracing a scar on the wood, mine frozen, and neither pulled away. The touch lingered, a spark in the quiet, and in that moment, with thunder cracking overhead, I fell hard, irrevocably. Weeks blurred into a rhythm that both soothed and shredded me. We'd meet at lunch, her tray clattering down like a declaration, and talk for hours about her dreams of running college track at UW, the pressure from her coach dad who barked orders like a drill sergeant, about my scribbled stories, the ones where heroines kissed under street lamps, hearts raw and exposed. She'd lean in, elbows on the table, chin in hand, eyes locked on mine with an intensity that made my stomach flip. "You're good, Alex. Really good. Makes me wish I could write my way out of this town." I'd laugh it off, but inside I was unraveling. Nights in my cramped bedroom, posters of indie bands peeling from the walls, I'd lie awake to the hum of the fridge downstairs and the occasional siren wailing through the fog. The streetlights slanted orange across my ceiling, and I'd replay every glance, every accidental touch, the way her hand lingered on my arm when she laughed, sending shivers racing up my spine. I wrote about her in fevered bursts, pages filling with her name disguised as R. Confessions I burned the next morning in the backyard fire pit, the smoke curling bitter into the damp air. But doubt gnawed like Seattle's winter chill. She was Riley Voss, queen of the straight world, surrounded by cheerleaders who flipped their hair and eyed me like an intruder. At the pep rally, under the glare of bleacher lights that buzzed like angry hornets, she was center stage, pom-poms shaking, her cheers slicing through the roar of the crowd. I watched from the shadows, the metallic tang of sweat and popcorn thick in the gym, my chest tight as she high-fived Jake's ex-best friend, their easy camaraderie a knife twist. Was I delusional? Reading rainbows into rain? Then came the party. Megan's house on Queen and Hill, bass thumping from speakers that rattled the windows, the air thick with weed smoke and spilled beer, sharp and yeasty. I didn't want to go, social scenes were minefields, but Riley texted, "Come? Need a rescue from the brothers." So I went, heart pounding, in my least wrinkled flannel and boots scuffed from too many rainy walks. The living room pulsed, bodies grinding to the beat, laughter spiking over the din. I nursed a warm soda in the corner, the fizz dying on my tongue when she found me. Riley, in a crop tee that bared a sliver of toned midriff, jeans hugging her hips like a second skin. Sweat glistened on her collarbone and she grabbed my hand, hot, urgent, pulling me through the throng. "Dance with me," she yelled over the music, her breath warm against my neck. I let her lead, our bodies swaying in the crush, her hip bumping mine electric. The song shifted, slower, sultry, and she turned, facing me, hands sliding to my waist. "Close." Her eyes searched mine, pupils dilated in the strobe light, and for a heartbeat, the world narrowed to us. The press of her fingers, the hitch in her breath syncing with mine. "Alex," she murmured, voice barely audible, laced with something raw, vulnerable. Her lips parted, inches away, and I leaned in, tasting salt on the air between us. Then Jake crashed through, bellowing her name, his arms slinging heavy around her shoulders. She stiffened, pulled back, the moment shattering like glass underfoot. "Hey man," she said, forced bright, but her eyes flicked to me. Apology, confusion, heat. I slipped away, heart hammering, the cool night air slapping my face as I stumbled onto the porch. Rain started again, soft at first, then sheeting down, soaking my shirt to clammy skin. I leaned against the railing, breath ragged. The city lights blurring through tears I wouldn't let fall. What the hell was that? Hope? Tease? Or just my desperate imagination? Back home I collapsed on my bed, the springs creaking under me, staring at the water-stained ceiling. The clock ticked mercilessly, 2:17 a.m., and sleep evaded, chased by the ghost of her touch. I grabbed my phone, thumb hovering over her contact, Riley Voss track queen, and typed deleted typed again. Tonight was fun. Lame. Safe. Sent. Her reply buzzed minutes later. Yeah. Sorry about Jake. He's an idiot. Then after a pause that stretched eternal. You okay? No. Not even close. But I whispered to the dark. Getting there. Autumn deepened. Leaves turning the quad into a carpet of crimson and gold. Crunching underfoot like brittle bones. Practice runs for me meant pounding the pavement alone. Earbuds blasting the Nationals' mournful croon. The lyrics wrapping around my ribs. I was a man who wasn't there. While fog rolled in off the sound, damp and clinging. But now Riley invaded even that solitude. She'd jog alongside sometimes, uninvited but welcome. Her strides matching mine effortlessly. Breath steady where mine ragged. You're faster than you think, she'd say, bumping my shoulder. The jolt traveling straight to my core. Those runs became our ritual, stolen breaths between school and sunset. We'd push up the hill to Gasworks Park, the old gasification tanks looming like rusted sentinels against the slate sky, their metallic bite sharp in the wind. At the top, gasping, we'd collapse on the grass, sides heaving, the city sprawl unfolding below. Fairy horns moaning in the distance, the wheel of the Space Needle piercing the clouds like a needle through fog. She'd lie back, arms spread, chest rising and falling, and I'd steal glances tracing the curve of her neck, the way sweat beaded like diamonds on her skin. One evening as the sun dipped low, painting her face in amber, she turned to me, propped on an elbow. Tell me something real, Alex. Something no one else knows. Her voice was soft, threaded with the day's exhaustion, eyes holding mine without flinching. I hesitated, the wind whispering through the weeds, carrying the faint brine of the bay. My mouth went dry, pulse thundering in my ears. I write about you. And my stories. Not by name, but it's you. The confession hung there, vulnerable, exposed. Heat flooded my face and I braced for the recoil, the polite laugh, the distance. But she didn't pull away. Instead, her fingers found mine, tentative, lacing through like puzzle pieces slotting home. Me too, she whispered, thumb stroking my knuckle, sending sparks skittering up my arm. I think about you. All the time. When I'm running, when I'm supposed to be studying. It's like you're there in my head. Her breath caught a small hitch and she squeezed my hand tighter. The world narrowed, the rustle of leaves, the distant caw of a gull. The warmth of her palm against mine. In that suspended breath I felt it, mutual. Terrifying. Thrilling. We didn't kiss then. Not yet. But as we walked back down, hands brushing, swinging loose, the air crackled with unspoken promise. At school though the facade held. She'd wave in the halls, quick and casual, surrounded by her pack. The cheer squad giggling over lip gloss shades. Guys slapping her back with bro hugs that made my jaw clench. I'd nod, play it cool, but inside jealousy coiled like smoke, acrid and choking. Who was I to her in daylight? The secret keeper? The almost more? Halloween loomed, the air turning crisp with wood smoke from neighborhood fire pits. Jack-o'-lanterns flickering on porches like wary eyes. The school dance was the event. Black and orange streamers draping the gym. Fog machines belching dry ice that swirled like ghosts. I almost skipped it. The thought of watching her twirl in some guy's arms too much knife edge. But her text ping, costume? I'm going as a vampire. Bite me. Heart emoji. I stared at the screen, breath fogging the glass, then typed back. Which? I'll hex you good. The gym throbbed that night, bass vibrating through the soles of my boots, the scent of cheap cologne and candy corn cloying. I lingered by the punch bowl, red plastic cup sweating in my grip, my thrift store witch hat crooked, black dress swishing against my thighs. Then she appeared. Riley, fangs glinting, cape draped over her shoulders, blood-red lipstick smudged just so. She looked like sin wrapped in velvet, eyes locking on mine across the crowd. A slow smile curling her lips. She wove through, hips swaying to the beat, and stopped inches away, heat radiating. Nice spell work, she teased, voice low under the din, her fingers tugging my hat straight, lingering on my jaw. The touch ignited and I caught her wrist, gentle, holding her there. You clean up dangerous, I murmured, the words bold on my tongue, fueled by the punch's sneaky kick. We danced. Not the grindy mess around us but slow, defiant, in our bubble. Her hands on my waist, mine at her neck, pulling her close. The cape brushed my arms, soft as a sigh, and her breath fanned my cheek, minty from gum she'd popped earlier. "Alex," she breathed, forehead to mine, the world fading to the thud of our hearts sinking, the faint creak of the gym floor under shifting feet. Her lips hovered, so near I tasted her exhale, sweet, tentative. Then the song ended, lights strobing harsh, and she stepped back, eyes wide, flushed. "We should talk later." Later came in the parking lot. Rain misting down, turning the asphalt to black mirror. We huddled under the awning by my beat-up Civic, the engine ticking cool as I leaned against the hood. She paced, arms crossed, cape discarded inside, shivering in her thin top. "This us, it's messing with my head," she said, voice cracking like thin ice. "I've never with a girl. But you. God, Alex, you make me feel seen. Not just the runner, the pretty face. You see me." I stepped closer, rain dripping from the eaves, plinking rhythmic. My hand cupped her cheek, thumb tracing her jaw, damp skin cool under my palm. "I see you, Riley. And I want you. All of you." The words trembled out, raw, my heart exposed like a nerve. She leaned in, eyes fluttering shut, and our lips met, soft, hesitant, then hungry. Her mouth was warm, tasting of cherry chapstick and salt from the mist, her hands fisting my dress as she pressed closer. A sigh escaped her, vibrating against me, and I melted, fingers threading her hair, the world dissolving to the slick slide of tongues, the gasp she made when I nipped her lip. Fireworks behind my eyes, the rain a curtain hiding us, her body molding to mine like it belonged. We broke apart, breathless, foreheads touching, her laugh shaky. "Holy shit. Yeah, holy shit." But dawn brought the crash. Monday morning, the high wore thin under fluorescent glare. She avoided my eyes in homeroom, buried in her phone, thumb scrolling frantic. By lunch, the table felt vast, her tray absent. I texted, "Everything okay?" Dots danced, then nothing. Panic clawed up my throat, sour as bile. She showed at the library after school, eyes red-rimmed, hair pulled back tight. "My dad found out," she whispered, collapsing into the chair, voice muffled against her sleeve. The scent of her tears, salty, sharp, hit me like a slap. I told my best friend, swore her to secrecy, but she blabbed to her brother, and it got back. He cornered me this morning. Said I'm throwing away my future, that track scholarships don't go to freaks. Rage boiled, hot and helpless. I pulled her into a hug, her sobs muffled against my shoulder, my shirt soaking through. "You're not a freak, Riley. You're brave. And I'm here. We faced this together." But as she clung tighter, the weight settled, heavy, unyielding. The town's whispers were just starting, a low rumble building to storm. That night, alone in my room, the wind howling off the sound, rattling the panes, I paced, floorboards creaking under my socks. My phone lit with notifications, crude memes from anonymous accounts, Dyke alert scrawled in digital venom. Riley's text came at midnight, scared. "But I don't regret it." "You?" "Never." "But fear?" "Yet not deep." Winter clamped down hard, Seattle's gray skies bleeding into endless nights, street lamps haloed in ice fog that bit at exposed skin. Holiday lights twinkled half-heartedly from eaves, their cheer mocking the chill in my veins. Riley and I navigated the minefield in whispers, stolen moments in empty stairwells, her hand slipping into mine under the desk in calc, thumb circling soothing patterns that made my focus shatter. But the stairs followed, sharp as shards. The football coach's narrowed eyes in the hall, murmurs from the lunch line like rustling dry leaves. Her dad, Coach Voss, was a force, broad-shouldered ex-Marine, whistle always dangling like a noose, barking drills that echoed across the field. I'd seen him at games, arms crossed, face carved from granite, applauding her sprints with grunts of approval. Now he watched her like a hawk, pulling her aside after practice, his voice a low thunder I couldn't make out but felt in the way she emerged, shoulders slumped, eyes downcast. "He thinks it's a phase," she confessed one night. Huddled in my car parked at Alki Beach, waves crashing rhythmic against the shore, their salty roar drowning the radio's static hum. Fogged windows cocooned us, her head on my shoulder, breath-warm puffs against my neck. Says college will fix me. Straighten me out. The word fix landed like a gut punch, air whooshing from my lungs. I turned, cupping her face, thumbs brushing away the damp trails on her cheeks. There's nothing broken about you, Riley. About us. My voice cracked, fierce, and she nodded, but doubt lingered in the furrow of her brow, the way her fingers twisted the hem of her hoodie. Christmas break hit like a reprieve, the school emptying to echoing halls, lockers slamming final. My family did the usual, Mom's overcooked turkey steaming on the table, the clink of forks against plates underscoring Dad's lame dad jokes, the piney tang of our lopsided tree scratching my nose as I hung ornaments. But my mind wandered to her. Riley at her family's lake cabin, forced cheer with aunts cooing over her boyfriend potential. We texted nonstop, her messages laced with miss you and heart eyes, mine spilling poetry fragments, your laugh a lighthouse in the squall. New Year's Eve I couldn't take the distance. Drove through sleet-slick streets, wipers slapping frantic, the heater blasting lukewarm air that smelled of fast food wrappers. Her cabin glowed isolated on the dark shore, smoke curling lazy from the chimney. I knocked, snowflakes melting on my lashes, heart jackhammering. She answered in flannel PJs, hair tousled, eyes lighting like dawn. Alex! Surprise melted to joy, and she yanked me inside, the door thudding shut behind. The cabin hummed with hearth fire crackle, logs popping sparks that danced on the walls, the air rich with cinnamon from cooling pie on the counter. Her parents were out, fireworks at the lodge, and we had the place wood-paneled and cozy to ourselves. She led me to the loft, a nest of blankets on the floor, fairy lights strung haphazard, casting golden flecks on her skin. We lay there side by side, the lake's black mirror visible through the window, stars pricking the velvet sky. Tell me a story, she murmured, head pillowed on my arm, fingers tracing lazy eights on my stomach, sending goosebumps rippling. I wove one for her, about two girls in a storm-tossed city, one bold as lightning, the other steady as earth, finding home in each other's arms. My voice dropped low, intimate, the words painting heat between us. She shifted, propping up, eyes dark pools reflecting the lights. That's us, she whispered, and leaned in, lips brushing mine featherlight. The kiss ignited slow, building like a wave. Her mouth soft, yielding, then insistent, tongue teasing the seam of my lips until I opened, a gasp escaping as she deepened it. Hands roamed, mine under her shirt, palms gliding over the smooth plane of her back, feeling the arch of her spine, hers cupping my breast, thumbs circling through fabric, drawing a moan that vibrated between us. We moved urgent, clothes shedding in whispers of fabric, skin meeting skin, warm, electric, her thigh pressing between mine, friction sparking stars behind my eyelids. Her breaths came ragged, sighs mingling with mine, the creak of the floorboards under shifting weight, the distant boom of midnight fireworks echoing our crescendo. After, tangled and spent, sweat cooling in the draft, she traced my collarbone, voice sleepy soft. I love you, Alex. The words trembled out, a gift wrapped in vulnerability. I kissed her temple, tasting salt. Love you too. Always. But reality crashed back with the spring thaw, mud sucking at sneakers on the track, the air turning green with new growth and old grudges. Coach Voss confronted me after school, cornering me by the bleachers, his shadow looming, breath reeking of black coffee and fury. Stay away from my daughter, he growled, voice gravel rough, finger jabbing the air inches from my face. You're confusing her. Ruining her shot at something real. Rage surged, hot and unfiltered. Real? Like what? Some cookie-cutter life you scripted. She chooses her own path, coach. And it's not your call. My fists clenched, nails biting palms, the metallic tang of fear on my tongue. He scoffed, turning away, but the damage lingered. Riley showed up at my door that night, duffel in hand, eyes stormy. I overheard. He grounded me, no track, no phone. Says he'll pull me from school if I don't snap out of it. Her voice broke, bag thudding to the porch, rain starting in fat drops that pattered the steps. I pulled her inside, Mom shooting me a knowing look from the kitchen, the sizzle of onions on the stove a homey counterpoint. Upstairs, door clicked shut, we collapsed on my bed, her tears soaking my pillow, body shaking against mine. "I can't lose you," she sobbed, fingers digging into my arms, bruises blooming under her grip. "You won't," I vowed, holding tight, the mattress dipping under us, my heart fracturing with hers. But as her breaths evened to sleep, the window framing the downpour, doubt whispered. How long could we fight the tide? Prom season bloomed amid the chaos, posters plastered everywhere. Glittery fonts screaming "One night to remember." Riley's friends circled like sharks, pushing dates, dresses, the whole heteronormative circus. She dodged, brittle smiles cracking, but the pressure mounted, a vice tightening. At lunch one day, under the relentless patter of spring rain on the awning, she slammed her tray down, yogurt spilling white across the table. "They keep asking, who you going with, Voss? Like it's a given. A guy. Always a guy." I reached across, squeezing her hand quick before pulling back, aware of eyes on us. "Go with me," I said, half joke, half prayer. Her laugh was watery, but her nod firm, defiant, lit something fierce in my chest. We planned in secrecy. Thrift store gowns, hair loose, makeup minimal. The night arrived humid, air heavy with lilac bloom and anticipation. The community center aglow, bass thumping from inside like a heartbeat. I waited on my porch, black dress simple, hugging curves I'd always hidden, nervousness twisting my gut. She pulled up in her mom's old SUV, stepping out in emerald silk that shimmered, clinging to her like a second skin, hair swept up, exposing the elegant line of her neck. "Wow!" we breathed in unison, then laughed, tension snapping like a twig. Inside, the crowd parted, stares prickling, whispers buzzing like flies. We danced anyway, her hand firm in mine, bodies swaying close, the mirror ball scattering diamonds on her skin. A slow song hit and she pulled me tighter, cheek to mine, breath hot. "Let them talk," she murmured, lips grazing my ear, sending shivers cascading. We kissed there, defiant, the world blurring to cheers and gasps, her taste, strawberry lip balm and rebellion flooding me. But Jake lurked, beer loose, crashing our orbit mid-song, his hand clamping her arm. "What the fuck, Voss? This a joke?" Slurred words sloshing, eyes bloodshot. She wrenched free, fire in her stance. "Get lost, Jake. It's not your show anymore." He lunged, clumsy, and I stepped between, shoving hard. His stumble met with a chorus of whoops from onlookers. Security hauled him out, but the night soured, her shoulders hunching as we fled to the parking lot, gravel crunching under heels. In the car, engine rumbling low, she broke, sobs wrenching, hands over her face. Everyone saw. My life's over. I drove to the overlook, city lights sprawling below like fallen stars, pulling her into my lap across the console, awkward but desperate. "Your life's just starting," I whispered, kissing her knuckles, the leather seat creaking. "With me, if you want." She nodded, fierce through tears. "I want." Summer whispered in on humid breaths, school years and a blur of finals and farewells. Report cards crumpled in trash bins like shed skins. Graduation loomed, caps and gowns in cardinal red. The auditorium humming with restless energy, air thick with floral bouquets and anxious sweat. Riley and I clung to the edges, our bond a secret flame flickering against the wind. Nights blurred into sleepovers at my place, Mom's approving silence a bomb, the guest room mattress sagging under us as we explored. Lazy mornings with her fingers mapping my ribs, laughter bubbling when I'd tickle her sides, the sheets tangling around ankles slick with sweat. But Coach Voss's shadow lengthened. He'd cut her from the team officially, papers signed with a flourish that echoed like a gavel. "Focus on your future," he'd said, voice flat as lake ice, but his eyes hard, unyielding, betrayed the lie. She spiraled, runs turning punishing, pounding the trails until her knees buckled, returning home bruised and hollow-eyed. I'd find her at our spot by the locks, sitting on the weathered bench, watching salmon leap futile against the current, their splashes rhythmic pleas. "He wants me to apply to schools back east," she'd say, voice distant, fingers shredding a leaf to green confetti. Away from everything. You. The thought clawed me raw, nights tossing to the tick of my alarm clock. 3 a.m. shadows stretching long. I'd slip out, drive to her window, tossing pebbles that clinked soft against glass until her face appeared, sleepy and soft. She'd climb down the trellis, roses snagging her PJs, landing in my arms with a muffled giggle. We'd drive nowhere, winding roads to Snoqualmie Falls, the roar drowning our fears, mist veiling us as we kissed against the chain link, her back arching into me, gasps lost to the cascade. Graduation day dawned improbably clear, sun gilding the stadium, the field mowed fresh, scent of cut grass mingling with sunscreen and nerves. We sat rows apart, protocol, her dad's glare a laser from the bleachers, but our eyes found each other across the sea of red. A private Morse code in winks and smiles. Diplomas handed out, cheers erupting like fireworks, and then freedom. Hats tossed skyward, confetti raining down sticky sweet. The after-party was at the Voss's, backyard strung with lights, grill smoke curling lazy, burgers sizzling with juicy pops. I arrived late, heart thudding, smoothing my sundress, floral light, a armor against the unknown. Her mom greeted me warm, hug lingering, whispering, "She's lucky to have you," her eyes knowing, kind. But Coach loomed by the cooler, beer in hand, foam clinging to the can like froth on rage. Riley found me by the fence, pulling me into the shadows of the lilac bush, blooms heavy and perfumed, petals brushing our cheeks. "I did it," she breathed, diploma crinkling in her pocket. "Told him. About us. For real." Her eyes shone defiant but hands trembled in mine. My breath caught, pride swelling fierce. "And," he yelled, called it a mistake. "But Mom." She hugged me, said she'd talk to him. A pause, her sigh feathering my skin. "It'll be okay. Has to be." We kissed there, hidden, her lips urgent, tasting of lemonade tart and sweet, hands roaming bold, mine under her shirt, nails grazing her spine, hers cupping my face, thumb stroking cheeks flushed. A branch snapped nearby and we froze, hearts hammering, then dissolved in hushed laughter, foreheads touching. But the confrontation came swift. Voices rose from the patio. His booming, her steady counter. I edged closer, peeking through leaves, the scene unfolding like a bad reel. "This isn't you, Riley. Some girls got you twisted." "It's me, Dad." Finally. Her shout cracked the night, raw, unfiltered. He advanced, face purpled, but her mom stepped between, hand on his arm, voice steel. "Enough, Tom. She's our daughter. Let her live." He stormed off, door slamming echoey, and Riley emerged, tears streaking but chin high. She crashed into me, burying her face in my neck, sobs muffled. "It's out. No more hiding." We drove away that night, windows down, wind whipping hair wild, radio blasting Fleetwood Mac. Go your own way, her hand in mine over the gearshift, fingers interlaced tight. At the beach we built a fire from driftwood, flames crackling orange against the dark, salt air sharp on our tongues as we roasted marshmallows, gooey strings pulling between us. She leaned back, head on my lap, stars wheeling overhead. UW and fall. Together. You riding me running. Us. Yeah, I murmured, fingers combing her hair, silk under my touch. Us. Summer unfolded, lazy days bleeding into heat haze. We worked odd jobs, her at the coffee stand, apron stained with espresso foam, me shelving books at the library, the hush broken only by page flips and her surprise visits, leaning over the counter with iced lattes sweating condensation. Afternoons we'd escape to Discovery Park, trails winding through ferns shoulder high, earth damp underfoot, the canopy filtering light to emerald glow. We'd hike to the lighthouse, its beams sweeping rhythmic, and make love in hidden coves, her back against mossy rock, legs wrapped around me, moans swallowed by the sea's crash, her nails raking my shoulders in ecstasy. But fractures spidered. Her dad went silent, a cold war of slammed doors and avoided eyes. One night, he cornered her in the kitchen, voice low venom. "If you pursue this, no tuition. No support. Figure it out." She called me sobbing, voice echoing tinny over the line. rain lashing my window like accusations. I raced over, bursting in to find her curled on the couch, knees to chest, the room dim, TV flickering blue ghosts. "He means it," she whispered as I knelt, arms enveloping her, her shivers transferring cold. "Scholarships are iffy. What if?" "Stop." I tilted her chin, eyes locking fierce. "We'll community college first. Work. Whatever. Together." My kiss sealed it, desperate, tongues clashing, her hands fisting my shirt, pulling me down atop her. We moved frantic, cushions shifting, her gasp sharp against my mouth, release a shuddering wave that left us panting, entwined. Yet the strain etched lines, her runs longer, solitary. My stories darker, heroines fracturing under pressure. August burned hot, a heat wave cracking the pavement, air shimmering wavy. We fought first time over nothing, me snapping at her distraction, her hurling back about my controlling texts. Words flew barbed, stinging until she stormed out, door banging, leaving silence thick as tar. Hours later she returned, flowers wilted in hand, wild daisies from the roadside, petals drooping. "I'm scared," she admitted, standing in the doorway, sundress limp, eyes pleading. "Of losing it all. You." I pulled her close, the blooms crushing between us, their faint honey scent mixing with her vanilla. "Me too. But we fight for this. For us." Forgiveness came in touches, soft at first, apologetic, building to passion that bruised lips and left marks blooming purple on hips. College apps loomed, deadlines ticking like bombs. We toured UW together, hand in hand on the campus paths, quad buzzing with freshman energy, the air alive with coffee, steam, and ambition. "This could be ours," she said, squeezing my fingers, the drum tower looming benevolent. But her acceptance came solo, full ride track scholarship, letter crisp in her grip as she showed me, grin splitting wide. Mine, waitlisted, a polite rejection that tasted like ash. Jealousy reared, ugly and green, twisting my gut at dinner that night, chopsticks clattering on takeout boxes, soy sauce sharp. "Congrats," I forced, but my smile wobbled, voice tight. She frowned, fork pausing. "What's wrong?" "Nothing." "Lie." "Everything." The gap widening, her launching me stalled. The argument erupted, words spilling hot. "You act like it's easy," she accused, eyes flashing. "I earned this through hell." "And I didn't?" "Watching you slip away." Tears burned, hot tracks down my cheeks. She softened, reaching across the table, but the rift lingered, a hairline crack. Fall quarter crashed in, leaves skittering across the UW quad like frantic thoughts, the air crisp with espresso and change. Riley moved into the dorm's first red brick building, humming with new voices, her room a chaos of unpacked boxes and track gear spilling from drawers. I crashed their weekends, community college commute, a grind of buses rumbling through traffic, exhaust fumes clinging to my coat, our nights tangled in twin XL sheets, her laughter echoing off cinderblock walls, but mornings brought the grind, her alarm blaring at dawn, kisses hasty as she bolted for practice, leaving me burrowed in her pillow, vanilla lingering like a ghost. Success crowned her quick. First meet, she shattered records, the crowd's roar vibrating the stands, her form slicing the track like a blade, muscles coiling and releasing in poetry. I cheered from the bleachers, program crumpled in fist, pride swelling throat tight, but envy nipped heels. My lit class droning on theory, essays piling like unpaid bills. "You're killing it," I'd say, hugging her post-race, sweat-slick skin cooling under my palms, her grin blinding. But the team whispered, teammates side-eyeing our linked hands in the stands, coach pulling her for focused talks, his clipboard a shield. One night after a party at the frat row, bass thumping distant as we walked back, arm in arm, a knot of guys catcalled, "Voss trading teams now?" Laughter jagged, beer bottles clinking. She stiffened, grip bruising. "Ignore them," I murmured, but her laugh was forced, brittle. In bed later she turned away, back a wall of tension. "It's everywhere," she whispered to the dark, voice muffled in pillow. "Like I can't just be." I spooned her, arm draping heavy, breath sinking slow. "You are." With me, you're everything. My hand slipped lower, tracing hip bone, eliciting a sigh that softened her edges. We made love gentle that night, kisses trailing collarbone, her fingers weaving mine as she arched, breaths mingling in quiet crescendo, release a shared shudder under the hum of the AC. Thanksgiving split us, her homebound, me with family texts sparse, her miss you laced with strain. She called late, voice echoing hollow. Dad's thawing. Sort of. Invited you for Christmas. Hope flickered, but her paws hung heavy. Team dinner tomorrow. Coach wants team bonding. No plus ones. The word stung, sharp as December frost. I'm your plus one. Always. I know. But. Optics. She sighed, wind rattling her end, leaves scraping pavement. Just this once. Betrayal soured my gut, but I swallowed it. Fine. Click. The fight simmered cold over break, Christmas lights twinkling mocking as we met at her folks', tree groaning under ornaments, the air spiced with gingerbread and unspoken barbs. Dinner passed strained, her dad's nods polite, mom's questions probing gentle, but under the table, her foot hooked mine, apology in the nudge. Gifts exchanged. I gave her a leather journal, pages blank for her thoughts. She, a locket with our initials etched tiny, cool metal warming against my chest. New Year brought resolution, but fracture deepened. Her schedule swallowed her. Practices bleeding into study groups. Away meets whisking her to Oregon. Hotel rooms echoing empty on calls. I'd wait up, phone glowing blue, her voice tinny with exhaustion. One again. But. Tired, Alex. So tired. The line crackled, distance more than miles. Valentine's I planned big. Picnic in the arboretum. Blankets spread under cherry blossoms shedding pink confetti. Thermos of hot cocoa steaming sweet. She arrived late, track bag slung, uniform grass-stained, apology kiss rushed. Meet ran long. Coach was brutal. We ate in fits, sandwiches soggy from drizzle, her laughs forced. Talk to me, I pressed, hand on her knee, the wool blanket prickling skin. She poked at a strawberry juice staining fingers red. It's pressure. Everyone expects gold. And us? It's like a side quest I can't afford. Her eyes met mine, guilty, pleading. Side quest. The diminishment hit like a slap, cheeks flushing hot. Is that what I am? A distraction? No. God, Alex. She reached, but I pulled back, heart pounding visible under my sweater. Then what? You're pulling away. Every day a little more. Voice rose, birds startling from branches, wings fluttering frantic. Tears welled hers, spilling over. I'm scared. Of failing. Of losing you because I can't balance it. She stood, blanket tumbling, pacing the path, gravel crunching. Maybe. Space. To figure it out. The world tilted, air thinning. Space? Or out? Whisper cracked raw. She froze back to me, shoulders quaking. I don't know. Turned eyes shattered glass. I love you. But this. It's breaking me. I left her there, driving blind through sheets of rain, wipers frantic, sobs choking. Home, I curled fetal on the bathroom floor. Tile cold against cheek, the drip of the faucet mocking. Plink, plink like a clock unwinding. Weeks blurred to ghosts. No calls, texts unread. I threw into school. Poetry slams where words bled cathartic. Verses about shattered lighthouses and tides pulling apart. Friends noticed, pulling me to coffee shops steamy with brew. Their hugs warm but hollow. She'll come around, they said, but doubt rooted deep. Then spring break, a knock shattered the quiet, her on my stoop, duffel at feet, face gaunt, eyes ringed purple. Rain slicked her hair, clinging dark. I quit the team. My breath seized. What? Coach pushed. Choose, tracker that girl. I chose you. Voice steady but hands shook, clutching the strap white-knuckled. But it's not enough. I need all of you. Or nothing. I stepped forward, door creaking open wider, pulling her into the foyer, the scent of her sweat and resolve flooding me. You have me. Always. Arms wrapped, her collapse into me, a dam breaking, tears hot on my neck. We talked till dawn, Kitchen table scarred wood under elbows, coffee cooling bitter. Her dreams fractured, scholarship void, future foggy, but clarity emerged. Transfer to community, run club casual, time for us. I was running from myself, she admitted, fingers tracing mine, calluses rough from hurdles. No more. Forgiveness bloomed slow, petals unfurling in touches, her hand in my hair as we napped on the couch, TV droning forgotten. Lazy kisses in the park, ducks quacking indignant at our picnics. But scars lingered, trust a tender shoot. Summer again but changed, road trip south, my Civic groaning under packs, windows down to canyon winds whipping. We camped in Utah, stars carpet thick, fire smoke stinging eyes as we shared stories, her head on my thigh, fingers drumming rhythm to crickets. Remember that first kiss? She murmured, voice smoke husky. Felt like flying. I smiled, bending to kiss her, slow, deep, the zipper of the tent rasping later as we stripped, bodies familiar yet new. Her moans echoing off red rock, climax crashing like distant thunder. Fall returned, us enrolled together. Her in kinesiology, me creative writing, classes overlapping in the arts building. Our hands brushing in lecture halls echoing with chalk dust. But her dad called, gruff, halting. Heard you quit. Stupid. But proud you're fighting for what you want. Thaw tentative. Years layered like Seattle's fog, thickening then lifting, our love a constant through the murk. Postgrad, she coached youth track at the rec center. Whistle sharp, voice encouraging, kids clustering like ducklings, their cheers a chorus that lit her face. I published first chapbook of poems, tides and tracks, dedication simple. For R who ran to me. Launch night, bookstore humming with bodies and wine tang. She stood front row, eyes shining wet as I read our story veiled in verse. Her hand finding mine after squeeze saying everything. We moved to Capitol Hill. Walk-up apartment with creaky stairs and bay windows framing the needle's glow. Rent split from her coaching gigs and my freelance edits. Mornings, coffee perking sharp, weed tangle in kitchen chairs, her legs over mine. Kisses tasting of cream and newsprint from the Times scattered. Marry me? She asked one dawn. Ring box velvet on the table. Diamond tiny but fierce, her knee bouncing nervous. Tears pricked, joy bursting. Yes. Hell yes. We eloped to the courthouse, vows murmured under fluorescent hum. Her in jeans and jersey, me in sundress fluttering. Rings exchanged with laughs and salt. Life wove intricate. Her knee blew out mid-drill one spring. Surgery a blur of sterile beeps and her grip bruising mine in recovery. Rehab a grind of ice packs numbing skin and her curses muffled in pillows. I read to her. Manuscripts aloud, voice steady, nights curling around her casted leg. Breath sinking to the tick of the wall clock. Couldn't do this without you, she'd whisper, fingers in my hair. Pulling me close, lovemaking adapted. Slow grinds, her gasps hitching on painkillers haze. Connection deeper in vulnerability. My novel came next. Echoes on the track. Bestseller whisper, tours pulling me to coasts, hotel loneliness eased by her FaceTimes, face pixelated but smile home. Controversy brewed, review calling it queer trope trotted out, backlash tweets stinging like nettles. She shielded, social's fierce. My wife's words are truth. Read it or miss out. Pride swelled, her arm around me at signings, the weight grounding. Kids entered the frame late. Adoption frayed nerves. Home visits with social workers probing coffee mugs, questions sharp as scalpels. But Ellie came, 5 and fierce, braids flying as she chased us in the park, her giggles a melody. Riley taught her sprints, tiny sneakers pounding turf. I spun bedtime tales, her head heavy on my chest, breaths evening to dreams. Family dinners chaotic, spaghetti sauce splattering, Ellie's chatter filling silences, our glances across the table loaded with we did this. Anniversary 10th, we returned to the field. Evergreen high, now alumni ghosts. Bleachers empty under harvest moon. Crickets chirping chorus. Picnic spread. Yogurt and sandwiches, echoes of that first lunch, wine bottles sweating in the grass. 10 years, she said, clinking glasses, the glug rich. Fell for you here. Hardest, best fall. I leaned in, lips brushing hers, wine tart lingering. Kissed back. Never stopped. We lay back, stars pricking velvet, her hand on my belly. Round now, IVF miracle at 40, a boy kicking insistent. Our story, I murmured, palm over hers, feeling the flutter. Full circle. She smiled, eyes tracing constellations. And it keeps writing itself. Better every page. In the quiet, with night air cool on skin, the world's noise faded. Past storms mere footnotes. We'd fallen, risen, loved through fractures, emerging whole. Not perfect but real. Enduring. The most beautiful life kissed back into being.